Good morning. Let's talk about truth today because we truly think that sometimes you're a little confused when it comes to the truth. You're looking at that bank account, that relationship that has failed, that place that you live that's not where you want to be, that car that's sputtering in the morning that could be nicer. And you're thinking, here it is in form. It's true, it's true. How could you possibly tell me not to look at something that I am seeing right in front of me? This is what you think truth is. But we're going to give you a little bit of a perspective or an understanding of what truth really is, what it truly is. It's a perception. We perceive you and we expand you in love. We give you the most credit and the highest magnitude and the benefit of the experiences that you are having and expand you to them, you see. And what do? You perceive yourself oftentimes in a whole different way. You look at that form as a justification of what is true. But we would tell you that there is nothing that is in form that has not been perceived by you in a way that has provided that form to you, you see. So it's your perception. That's the only truth that there is. There's one thing, perceiving itself, either in love or disconnection. If you want the form to reveal something to you in love, in connection, you have to stop agreeing to it. You have to stop perceiving your life in the way that you are seeing it. Now, we know that this is a little bit of a task, and we have told you that once you get sick or once you have something in form, it's very difficult to change your view of it because it's in your face, you're looking at it, you're seeing it, you're smelling it, sensing it, tasting it, and living with it. But this is the only way that you can change form, is by perception. Many of you will say, I'm going to think good thoughts. I'm going to hum in the corner and do what it is I'm supposed to do in order to change my form. But the only way you can change form is to perceive yourself as your source perceives you. That's where all the good stuff is. So you can try to deny the emotions. You can try to deny the form. But many of you are not going to have very good luck with that because it's difficult. I can see it. I can smell it. I can taste it. I'm longing for it. I need it. Resistance, resistance, resistance. This is what you are up against, you see. But when you decide to perceive yourself differently than what it is you are seeing, that you have perceived yourself as, by the way, prior to this event coming in form, now you have an opportunity to choose the higher part of yourself, the higher aspect, the better way of thinking, the way that will yield you something that you've already created, that you've already become, that you're really going to like, simply in the perception of it. Use your experiences for what they're for. They are nothing more than your human experiencing for you as you to have a preference. Certainly it wouldn't be your preference to be experiencing the negativity or the opposite of what you really want. So as you dwell in this perception, that's exactly what you're doing. You have to get to the point that you realize how creation works. You are nothing more than a perceiver. That's all you are. And that's what we are. It's why when people ask us, who are you? What are you? Why are you here? We're the same as you. We're just not in form right now. We're perceiving for you, with you, the experiences that you are having, and we are elevating you because of it, and you are elevating us because of it, because we know that perception is creation. We have that awareness. We have that agreement, that understanding, that knowing. We want you to get it too. There's nothing there for you in the perception that you are less than you are. There's nothing there for you in the perception as you feel awful when you do it about something. It's not coming. It's why you feel terrible as you do it. If you are in alignment, and what does alignment mean? It means in agreement. That's all it means. I agree to perceive myself as my source sees me, not as my human is experiencing me. This is what you are doing. The biggest fault that a human has, if you could say they have a fault, and we're using the word human, not your source, is they think there's something wrong with themselves. They think they have to change something in order to fit in order to be enough, in order to be worthy. They have to correct something. They keep reading all these books and doing all these practices and focused on what they don't like about themselves. That perception, here it is, folks, isn't going to bring you anything you like. All it's going to do is make you feel awful as you do it, make you feel frustrated as you continue to do things that you're not liking in yourself, as you continue to create things that you wish were not created. You're going to become more and more frustrated and more determined that you need to change and that you're not doing things well here. But why is that happening? It's not the truth that you're not doing things well here. It's the truth that you're having a perception of what well is. Simply decide that when you have an experience and you have an emotion, whether liking it or not liking it, that you've made your decision, that you've become what you want to become by that decision. And then just gently allow yourself to know this. Talk to your human. You've done your work. You let me know. I felt the bullwhip. And now I'm moving on from it because I know that perception is everything. It's not the experience. It's not that it's true. It's not the one that's wrong in front of you. It's not. It's you perceiving you. Once you get this, now you can change form. Now you can align, be same, be likened to who you really are. That's all you're really doing. There are so many places that you are condemning self, that you stand in judgment, that you hate yourself, that you become your experiences. And we're going to tell you something. That is a wolf in sheep's clothing. That is a disguise that the human wears. Don't be fooled by it. You are this high energy source. This thing that you have chosen to call God. This is who you are. And you're having an experience in human form. And you're encountering contrast. And you're making decisions on how you want to perceive yourself. Are you going to perceive yourself as your source? Are you going to learn from it? Are you going to gain something from this experience? Are you simply going to throw up your arms, become the experience, and suffer? And suffer. And suffer. Suffering is optional. You may have heard this in some of the teachings, because you're choosing it. When you feel something you don't like, this is your opportunity to choose. We hear a lot of buts. You're not living my life. You're not putting up with this spouse that I have. You don't have my money problems. You don't know what it's like. But we would ask you, you know what it's like. How are you liking the choices you've made? How do you like the feeling that you're stuck in? How do you like the form that you're seeing? When are you going to decide to try it another way? To receive what you have coming in the form that you're wanting, to align as your source in human form, to actually be able to see what you have become by the experiences that you are contributing in every moment of every day of every lifetime that you have ever lived. This is what you're doing, picking and choosing, deciding how you're going to feel. How are you going to feel? Justified. That's what most of you pick. I'm looking at form. I don't like it. I'm not feeling good, and I'm justified in it. And you know what you're going to get? More and more to be justified in your suffering. More and more is going to come. It's going to give you exactly what it is that you have received, what you are believing, what you're perceiving. We know that eventually more and more of you are going to gain this awareness and this understanding. And how's it going to happen? By hearing it enough. By opening up just a little bit each time you hear it. And then what happens is, just in that knowledge, just in that opening, that little bit of a crack in that understanding, it gives your source a little bit of an area to leak in. And you might not do it every time. You might not do it every experience. You'll start first with the ones that aren't quite so potent, just for your knowledge. Yes? It will be something little, maybe a little bickering with your spouse, and you'll think, you know what? No argument is worth it. I'm just going to know that I want to feel good, and it doesn't matter that I'm right, and I'm just going to try to let this go and move on from it. That's how it's going to start, in areas that are small, in areas that are not such a big charge. But it's like building a muscle. As you do it in these little areas, the ones that you can do it in, all of a sudden, one of the big moments are going to come. And you're going to choose. You're going to use the perception that you want to see in form instead of the one that you see in suffering. You're going to consciously do it. So our advice to you, as it has always been, is start with the small stuff. And if you have some big things, some big money problems, some big relationship problems, some family problems, whatever they are, and the charge is really big, let's move to the small ones first. Let's get the hang of this thing. Let's do it incrementally. We've done some recordings before, and we've talked about if a human goes to a bookshelf and goes to put the book on the shelf, and they can get on their toes and they can manage to get it up, they can believe, they can perceive, they're going to get it up on the shelf. And this is what you're doing in your everyday interactions. Take the little ones and get close to the bookshelf and feel that you can almost make it and put the book on the shelf. If you find there's a circumstance or situation going on where you're nowhere near reaching that shelf, then we would say stay away from that for a while and gradually build your confidence, gradually build this muscle to choose. The perception. It's not that it's not true. It's not that you're not seeing it. It's not that you're not feeling it. But that perception will recreate it. So perceive the way you want to see in form. That's the message of the day. Good day.